Vet, and today, instead of coming to you from my clinic, I'm actually coming to you from my kitchen because it is Christmas, a time for crazy jumpers and lots of presents, and of course loads of fabulous snacks and festive treats, which is great, but some of these can cause problems for our pets. So this video is all about which ones might be problematic and when to call your vet for advice if you are concerned. So please don't forget, like this video, share it with other pet parents so they have this information as well. But what I would really like to know is how you do spoil your pets at Christmas. They are our family members. Obviously, we need to include them in the festivities. So how do you make sure that they're involved? Do you go down to the shops and buy them pet-safe Christmas snacks? Do you get in the kitchen and start baking them something special? And what is wrapped up under the tree, ready and waiting for them on Christmas Day? Because I know that they're never going to be left out and something is going to be there for them. This video today is sponsored by TVM UK, so thanks very much for the support, guys. Let's get going. The first thing that, of course, everybody thinks about at Christmas time when it comes to things that pets shouldn't eat is chocolate. And there is a lot of it around at this time of year, whether we're buying it to cook with, whether we're buying it for gifts, or whether we're hanging it on the tree. It is everywhere, and you certainly won't hear me complaining, but if our pets get hold of it, it can be an issue. Basic rule is the darker the chocolate, the more problematic it can be, and especially for little dogs, even a few bites of dark chocolate can be really, really dangerous. So obviously make sure you keep it well out of reach. But it's hard because it's around everywhere, and of course a lot of us are giving things like this as gifts. So if you're going to give some chocolate gifts to a friend, especially if you know they have pets, maybe don't tell them exactly what's in it because that does spoil the surprise, but give them a little bit of a clue that it's maybe not for under the tree, it might be in the cupboard until they really want to open it, because you know what's in it, you don't want them to know what's in it, but the dog's nose knows, and they will unwrap that present under the tree for you, no problem at all, eat all the chocolates in there and possibly half of the wrapping paper as well, and nobody wants that. But if your pets do get into any chocolate over the festive period, and remember, chocolate is actually toxic to both dogs and to cats, give your vets a call for advice and keep the packaging with you. Some packaging is really helpful and says things like 85% cocoa solids right on the front of it. But others, it's often written in very small print on the back. But that information is really, really useful to us because we are able to figure out exactly how much of a toxic dose a pet might have eaten and whether they are in real trouble or not. So even if they smush all the way into the packaging and eat all your tasty truffles, bring that packaging with you or have it to hand when you phone your vets for advice, because we need to know the information that is on that packet. And don't forget all the other weird places that chocolate is at this time of year, particularly the bits that you hang on the tree. If you're going to put up chocolate decorations, either make sure they're put up last minute before you let the younger members or possibly every member of your family go and find one on the tree, or hang them up high so they are well out of the reach of those curious little noses that our dogs and our cats possess. Next is raisins. Christmas is an extremely raisin heavy time of year, and these actually are my favourite treats. The panettone, the mince pies, all of those different delicious things. But raisins are actually toxic to our pets. And the weird thing about it is we don't know why, and we don't know what the toxic dose is. And it's quite an individual thing. So you've probably heard people say, well, I fed my dog raisins as snacks all his life. My mum used to always give the dog a grape when she was eating some, and they've always been fine. And that might be the case, but some individuals are definitely very sensitive to raisins, and we don't know which ones they are, and we don't know how many they need to eat to have some really serious problems, particularly with their kidneys. And a few bites of a mince pie or a little bit of a snack of the Christmas pudding could be a real issue. And if you speak to your vet, often we will want to make your vet vomit, and then sometimes even put them on a drip for a couple of days to protect the kidneys in case of damage. So anything with raisins in, that yummy panettone, that mince pie, all of that kind of thing, let's keep it well out of reach. And they are the kind of thing which sometimes are sitting on plates on the side table in the kitchen, especially on Christmas Day, you know, just in case you're feeling a little bit peckish, you haven't eaten anything for half an hour or so, and it's time to stock up again. So just make sure that everything like that is kept well out of reach. And what about those savoury snacks? There's a lot of nuts around at this time of year, Nuts are quite fatty, they're often very salty, and some, like macadamia nuts, it can actually have some toxic effects. So if you're done with the sweet stuff, you know, for the next 10 minutes or so, but you still need to have a little snack and it's something savoury and you're reaching for the nuts or the crisps or the biscuits, just make sure that you're doing that somewhere where the dog can't get to them. Because any of these things, chocolate or mince pies or pastry or cakes or whatever it is, even if your pets don't have enough to cause like a toxic problem, they're going to cause an upset tummy, and you do not want to be ringing your vet over the festive period saying the dog's got vomiting and diarrhea, and you particularly do not want to be having to clear that diarrhea or that vomit off the living room carpet on Christmas morning. So just making sure that our pets' diets at this time of year are as steady as possible, and when they're getting their treats and snacks, it's not too much. And it's something that's safe for them as well. And of course, let's not forget the Christmas dinner itself. Of course, our pets can join in, and if you want them to have a Christmas dinner as well, which I think is a fabulous idea, just make sure you're using some lean cuts of meat from whatever you're eating. And some vegetables as well, particularly for the dogs, but just make sure there's no butter and no salt on them, because again, we don't want an upset tummy on Christmas Day. The one thing though it is really, really important to avoid is any gravy and any stuffing, for a couple of reasons. First of all, they are really super high in fats and calories and salts, are going to cause an upset tummy, but a lot of them do contain powdered onion and powdered garlic. Gives them a fabulous flavour, but those things can be toxic to our pets, as can onion and garlic themselves. It causes this weird problem with the blood where it can make the red blood cell levels drop, so definitely avoid anything with onions and garlics in for our pets over the festive period. Next up, Christmas booze. No responsible pet owner, obviously, is going to deliberately give their pets alcohol, and most of that thing is always kept out of reach. But it's important to remember that some of these festive tipples that we enjoy don't actually taste particularly alcoholic and are often very creamy based, like these sorts of Bailey's type things here. And particularly for cats, and especially dogs, they may decide that they like that a lot. So just make sure, again, it's the same thing, just keep things out of reach. It's easier said than done, obviously, but anything like that, it's going to make them feel really awful, it's going to give them really upset tummies, and their behaviour may well be less than ideal. When it comes to Christmas morning and you're busy unwrapping all of the presents that are there, I'm betting that some of those are going to require some batteries. So batteries are another thing that are often lying about on Christmas, and it's easy to lose them in all the wrapping paper and the craziness of unwrapping all those gifts. But that's really important to keep hold of them. We all know how toxic batteries can be. The AA and the AAA. If your pet bites onto those before they eat them, they can cause a dangerous leakage of battery acid, and the button batteries in particular can be incredibly toxic. They can burn through flesh and cause really, really awful internal injuries. So again, it's loads of common sense, but in the craziness of Christmas morning, of all that unwrapping and presents and demands from the kids to get the toys up and running and making all that noise as soon as possible, it's easy to lose the battery. So just make sure to keep those somewhere really, really safe. And what else happens after we've eaten all the delicious Christmas food and, more importantly, drunk all the delicious Christmas alcohol is sometimes we're not feeling too hot ourselves and crack open the medicine cupboard, and out come paracetamol and ibuprofen and cold and flu remedies. Human medicines are going to be really problematic for our pets, so definitely just make sure that you keep all those sorts of things out of reach. If your dog if your dog does eat anything, and particularly if your cat has anything at all like that, cats especially are extremely sensitive to human medications. So again, if they do anything like that, you must, that's a real red line. You have to absolutely call your vet. And finally, let's talk about all the Christmas flowers that we get. That's another really popular gift. The classic Christmas poinsettia or any lilies are often around at this time of year. Anything from the lily family is really toxic to our pets, and particularly this one is often something where cats get themselves into problems because they're tiptoeing along the mantelpiece or they're tiptoeing along the windowsill where the flowers are. All parts of lily plants are problematic. The leaves, the stamens, and even the petals themselves. And little curious kittens will often have a little nibble, or if they brush past and get the pollen on their fur, they will lick it off, and it can cause incredibly serious damage, particularly to their kidneys. So if you're going to give the gift of a beautiful flower, which again, You know, everybody loves that kind of thing. We're all going to be giving gifts. That's okay. It's okay to give each other presents. Just make sure that they're kept well out of reach. That's the key. There you go. That was a quick whistle-stop tour through some of the things that can be problematic for our pets at Christmas. And basically, it just comes down to try to keep everything out of reach, try to anticipate problems, try to make sure that they don't get hold of anything that's for people and not pets. But with the best will in the world, these things do happen. If you are ever worried at any point, at any time, please pick up the phone and call your local vets. If they're not open, there will be an emergency practice that you are able to talk to. Get on the phone, have the packaging with you, talk to the vet, let them know what's happened, and they will be able to give you advice. Sometimes it's just as simple as get them rested, you know, give them a couple of plain meals and they're going to be absolutely fine. Sometimes it is a case that they are going to need to go down to the vet hospital and have some treatment and maybe make them sick or get them on a drip if it's really, really bad. But we are here to help over the festive period. I really hope you and your pets have a fabulous, fabulous time. You are able to enjoy some time with your family, and you definitely, definitely enjoy all the snacks that they can't have. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys really soon. Bye.